What's up, beautiful people? It is your hungry Miss Shameless. All up in 2017. This is the first video at the gate, 2017. And I wanted to talk to you about how to get everything you wanted. But instead of doing a floating head video, why not just beat this face so good? And I wanted to share with you some inspiring words for 2017 and how to get your life. So, my face is moisturized. I've been using this stuff. Vitamin C serum, brightening facial serum by Elizabeth Den. Got it when I was in Toronto. Anyways, the first step is to know what you want. And a lot of people say, oh, I want to lose weight. Oh, I want a man. Oh, I want to be a YouTuber. But you're not even doing the steps that need to happen to get you there. Which brings into question, do you really want those things? Because if you're not working towards it, then it really does mean you don't want it. If you want something, write it down and go after it. Speaking of which, I have this amazing poster that I wrote out with my brother. It's a Shameless Manifesto, and it says, I, fill in your name, hereby declare that on this, whatever day of whatever month, in whatever year, to abandon fear and shamelessly live out my dreams of, I will realize my dreams by believing in myself, hustling hard, and sacrificing what? You gotta sacrifice to gain. Knowing that this will make room for my goals to be achieved. I will promote and push myself beyond my comfort zone by introducing myself to people I don't know in settings I'm not comfortable with. I will view the success of others as inspiration for my own greatness while providing help and inspiration to those around me. Do you, boo? Be shameless. Sign off on it. And I'm your witness, so I will sign on that. If you guys want to cop that info box, I'm really proud of that. That's something I've been really working on for a hot minute. But I thought now, because it is the new year, that it would be good to fill out. And for me, yes, vision boards help. But for me, what really helps is writing it down. I can't tell you how many times I've written things down. When I was a teenager, I wrote, in 5 years, I will be living in New York and Los Angeles. At the time, I was living in Toronto, and I wrote it on a napkin. So you can write down anything. It doesn't have to be a poster that you got to pay for. But writing it down helps. And for me, I do have a poster, and I keep it right beside my bed, which is why I wanted to do this. So it's something I could see first thing in the morning and pursues. I burned my face. Okay. Then, how do you really know what you want? You have to ask yourself, what makes you happy? What do you like? Who are you? What are you good at? What are you good at? And I would say focus on that. Then get inspired. So to get inspired, you got to do a whole lot. For me, do I still do it? I haven't done it recently, but I was big on mood boards, vision boards. I kid you not. I've always dreamed about living in a loft. And I had all these photos cut out. I had images on my computer of like all these beautiful lofts. And now I live in a loft. At the time, I felt kind of silly for putting it on this vision board. I know when I did this. This was in 2011 or something. But I felt silly doing it, and I did it. And fast forward, when I moved here to Los Angeles, I had been living in New York in an apartment, a small apartment. And when I came here, this loft was the first loft that I saw. And the fact that I was able to get it That's not luck. That is not luck. That is the power of mind. And of course, God. But the power of your mind. What you visualize, you'll realize. You have to see it. And sometimes in order to believe it, you got to see it. So get yourself inspired by putting it down on paper, putting it on a vision board, see it. The other thing I used to do, because I have a hard time believing in a healthy family and marriage for obvious reasons. I have been through a lot, and then even the way I was the way I was raised. I was raised in a single parent home, and I honestly just thought I was gonna have a kid by myself. That's what I believed. So I had to put photos on my phone, on my desktop of families, happy families. So I put the Cosbys. Why did they have to disappoint me like that? Why'd you do that? And then Fresh Prince of Bel-Air as like an example of, yes, I can see it, I can believe it, and I can achieve it. So get inspired. So once I have my inspiration up, it's all about taking steps to move forward. I gotta take those steps. I can dream about it all day if I want. That's kind of the mistake that I did with The Secret. I don't know about you guys. When it came out, all I did was daydream. Because I was like, yeah, I visualize it. Yeah, but that's just part of it. You have to actually do work. You gotta take steps forward to make those dreams a reality. So start small and just chisel away at one step at a time. For me, acting, say. I wanted to act, so I took classes. Once I took classes, I started to go out there and get headshots. Once I got a headshot, I got an agent. Once I got an agent, I went to auditions. Once I went to auditions, I went to more and more and more auditions. Possibly thousands, hundreds before I booked something. But I could daydream about acting all I want, but if I'm not going to do the work, I'm not going to get there. So I did the work. I guess we're going for a brown smoky today. Okay, now the next step is key. Key. Believe me. Everyone has all this energy in the first week of January. I don't know how it is for the rest. And for me, because I don't have annual goals, I'm constantly having goals every week, every month. You got to stay consistent. You can't just burn out and have all this energy week 1, week 2, and then have nothing left for the rest of the year. So don't bite off more than you can chew. And I'm guilty of that. I used to be so pumped and so amped to get something done. And then like a few days in, are you kidding me? What are you talking about? I'm on to the next, or I forgot whatever I was trying to work towards. So you gotta stay consistent, ladies and gentlemen. And this may not apply to all of you guys, maybe just some of you, but study your craft. If you say you want to be a doctor, you obviously have to go to school and study that. If you want to act, you have to study it. If you want to be a filmmaker, you have to study. Yes, you have to do it. You learn a lot by doing, but you learn a lot by watching and studying the greats before you. So if you want to be a videographer, you should be watching movies. You should be reading books on the behind the scenes on how that was achieved. I guess there's the internet for that now. For me, I used to live in the library. I just lived in the library. I was obsessed with that spot. You gotta study your craft. And if you can't afford it, there are ways around it. Where there's a will, there's a way. And if you have excuses, leave them alone. Those are excuses. They don't help you get closer to your goal. They just take you away from the responsibility of getting it done. So let go of excuses. Figure it out. There is always a way. I like this NYX eyebrow powder pencil. Oh, so this is new. And I love it. Because I have like greasy eyebrows that nothing sticks to it. Nothing, not powder, not pencil, not gel. This? You kidding me? Stays on. Not even stays on. That was never the issue. Going on. You know what I used to do? Going to Barnes and Nobles. Any bookstore, I would also go there and sit down and just read. So I didn't have to buy the book. Because I couldn't afford it. Speaking of not being able to afford, money. Money. You do need money to get shit done. You'd be surprised with how much you can do and how creative you could be with little money, but you do need some money. Punk, what you doing with your money? Are you spending it on these products that I'm telling you to click in the link below? Or are you putting some aside for a savings so you can have some sort of financial security and or buy the thing that you want? A camera. Oh my goodness. How I had to save for this camera. I would always put aside 10% of everything I earned. And within, I can't remember how long, but I remember the most money I ever saved was $10,000 when I was cocktailing. It was the best feeling ever. And the more I started to see it grow, the less I wanted to spend because I worked so hard to get that number there. So putting money aside. Every day, every moment, we are presented with choices. You have a choice. You could choose to spend. You could choose to save. You could choose to say yes. You could choose to say no. But you have a choice. And that's the beautiful thing about life. You can always make a different choice in a different moment. So if you made a mistake yesterday, or if you weren't happy with how yesterday panned out or last year panned out, guess what? Today's a new day. Today's a new year. And you can choose right now to change. Girl. Next, eliminating negative baggage. We all carry baggage with us. No one is free of it. So let it go. If you watch negative shows, stop watching negative shows. If you have negative friends around you, spend less time with them. If you have negative family, because that's a thing, just bite your lip, save that money. Ooh, because once you're under that roof, you gotta abide by the laws. Negative gossip sites. Bye-bye. If you enjoy it for entertainment, then just be prepared that that negative energy will stay with you. You can't isolate it to just entertainment and reading. If you're taking it in any form, it's going to follow you. It's just frequencies and energy. If you are around positive people, you think positive things, you do positive things, you are constantly surrounded by affirmations, prayer, like good vibes, that is bound to come to you. Alcohol, weed, excessive sex. Oh man, I'm telling you. When you start to focus on you, you will be floored at what you can accomplish. And I'm speaking this from experience, like, because I did it all. Alcohol, weed, sex. I let it go. And how does a kid raised by a single mother in a basement in Toronto, end up in Los Angeles, living in a loft with a Jeep, with an office, with staff, with a whole team. This shit's real. But you have to put in the work. You gotta do you, boo. Okay, let me do this. This is hard. Yes. Okay, I can't talk and do that at the same time. And my favorite liquid liner is also NYX, the matte liquid liner. Okay, so I talked about getting rid of negative baggage. Once you get rid of that, you gotta replace it with positive affirmations, yo. I cannot tell you the amount of time I spent on the New York subway train just repeating the same affirmation over and over again. You would think I was crazy. But now that I see where it's brought me, I ain't crazy. You're crazy to not do it. So the one that I would always repeat was, I have more than enough time and energy to do all that I love. Because I have a lot of loves. And then I also had, I can do all things through Jesus Christ who strengthens me. And I would write them on little cards, and I would put them in, like, you know those name badge holders? I'd have it in that so it wouldn't get all old. And I would just hold it and read it over and over and over again. The next important step is to find a mentor. Before you do that, do as much work on your own as possible. Have a body of work. Have accomplished something in the area that you're passionate about or pursuing before going up to someone and asking for help. I actually stressed this at my meet and greet in Toronto. Somebody had asked me, you know, what would it take for them to come into my life so I can mentor them? And I said, do you have a website? Do you have socials that reflect what it is that you're trying to do? And I don't mean personal socials. I mean, like, say you are a writer. You should have a blog. You should have links to work that you've done that are published. If you're a photographer, you should have a website. I mean, everyone should have a website. And you should have worked with other people. When I was looking for an internship with a photographer, I had a portfolio, a printed portfolio, I had a website, and I had references. Because the last thing you want to do is ask someone who is crazy busy, successful, for their time in exchange for what? Yes, people want to help. Everyone is constantly looking at what's in it for me. Even if they will not admit it, there is always a sense of what's in it for me. So when it comes to looking for a mentor, if you're asking a successful person to give their time, you got to think, well, why would they give their time to me? Why not to somebody else? So you got to make sure the trade-off is good. Like, I have experience, I have drive, I have passion. You got to think strategically, because you have to keep in mind that this person has 20 other people like you asking for the same thing. And that other person might be saying, hey, look, I'll get you coffee every morning. And on top of that, my portfolio is wicked good. So not only am I talented, I'm humble. That goes really far in life. So, what do you have to offer this busy, successful person? Better be something. Better be something. And I'll tell you this much. Successful and talented people want to surround themselves with successful, talented people. So, and success is relative. So long as you have good work, or they can see something in you, the hustle, the drive, then you're good. Whew. Then, find your community. It's so important to find people. We as human beings are social creatures. You can be an introvert all you want, but at the end of the day, solitary confinement is a real thing, which means to say we need human contact. So find your community. When I moved to New York City, I had no one. No one. And I didn't want to work in my house because I lived in the projects. And I was doing photography, and I was like, where can I work that I don't have to invite people over? So then I started looking for shared artist workspaces, and that's when I found Con Artist, which is a shared artist workspace in New York City. Oh, the audio on my mic stopped recording, so now I'm gonna do my phone. Okay, find your community. It's so important to surround yourself with people that are doing what you're doing. So for me, Con Artist in New York, it was a shared artist workspace. It was epic. And then once you have a community, collaborate. United we stand, divided we fall. United we stand, divided we fall. I know, I'm partly American. But anyways, collaborate. Now, you don't necessarily have to team up with the biggest YouTuber to collaborate. Collaboration just means you're working with other people. So for me, before I even knew about like a YouTube collab, I was collaborating with my cousin. We were working together, striving to achieve the same goal, which is to create and have fun. So find someone that shares the same passions, the drives that you have, and create together. But again, there is no right or wrong path, but I do encourage you to start walking your own walk instead of having to depend on other people. Like, you don't want to have the excuse of, oh, I'm supposed to do this project with my friend, but they're flaking, so now I'm here where I'm here. No, if you want to do something, do it. Don't use your friend or the world or people not giving you a handout as an excuse to not get it done. But collaboration is definitely it. Like, look at all those artists. Beyonce will collaborate with Coldplay to do the crossover demo. And then, once you spend all that time collaborating, getting your community, teamwork, take time out to reflect. And that's the last thing. I say that last because a lot of people get stuck in their heads on what they need to do, what they could do, what they should do, versus actually doing. So do, make, create, and then evaluate. Take time to see, are you doing what you want to do? Does this make you happy? Do I need to make adjustments? Am I no longer happy? Do I change what I want? Am I feeling this anymore? That happens when you take time to reflect. Because sometimes, for me, I just go. And I'm like, do I even want to do this anymore? Especially when I was cocktail waitressing. Sometimes you just get caught up. So it's important to take time out and think about it. Her face is almost beat. She's doing the most. She is doing the most. I found it. My cover and fax powder. Look, I had set air spun and it like sucked it all up. She oily? So that's kind of how I've lived my life. I'm constantly looking at a lot. Sometimes I'm in my head too much. But the good thing is I'm always doing. I'm always creating. So despite me being in my head, I'm still doing. So in the comments below, let me know what you want. Do you want to graduate school? Do you want to be a YouTuber? Do you want $1 million? And then I would say start going in depth and finding out the real want. Like, what is it? Like, A lot of people want to be YouTubers or whatever, social media people, because they want to be famous. Just be honest with yourself. There's nothing wrong with being honest with yourself and owning up to that. But don't lie to yourself. Don't play yourself. Ooh. And she has done it. She has lied. She has played herself. Yo, this Caitlyn Jenner blush is everything. It's like, it has some highlighter and some rouge. Oh, I love it. Actually, I really like the Caitlyn Jenner MAC collab. The blush, the eyeshadow, which I didn't use, the lip liner, and the lip gloss. Here, I'll put it on right now. I feel like that's a lot. That's a whole lot. But that is what is required of us to get to where we want to go. At least for me. That's what's worked for me. I worked really hard to get where I am. I worked really freaking hard to get the things that I wanted in my life. Nothing was ever handed to me. And when it started being handed to me, I felt like, what the heck is going on? But I worked. I worked to get it. Okay, Caitlyn. I have an episode with Hey Friend Hey on the slumber party on beliefs. So I think that video will definitely help you guys out, especially if you're struggling with what it is you want. What you want is heavily tied into what you believe. Do you believe you're worthy enough? Do you believe you can ask and receive more? For so many years, I used to think like that wasn't for me. Like, for whatever reason, I'm not allowed to live that type of life. I was born into this class or this kind of social upbringing. And I'm like, wait a minute. Why do I think that? Who told me that? She just needs some highlight. And what you want can change and evolve. Like, what you wanted today may not be the same tomorrow. And that's okay. She done. She is ready to get everything she wants. 2017. She almost forgot, ladies and gentlemen, lashes. I have been wearing lashes a lot lately. I just think they're so cute. I think they're so cute. At the end of the day, I think we all just want to be happy. And it doesn't come from money. It doesn't come from fame. But what really is valuable is your relationship with your friends, your family, and of course, God. Get right with God, 2017. Get right with God. If you've been on the fence, on the sidelines, I could tell you to do all this stuff, and you can do it. But it could be very powerful when you include God into the conversation in the mix. And when you start involving God in your life, really start involving God, and that can be as simple as saying thank you. Thank you that I have eyes, that I have a nose, that I have a face, that I have life in me. Thank you that I'm alive. It starts there. When you can count your blessings, because there is always something to count. There's always something to be grateful for. You'll be surprised to see what life has to offer. It will offer more the minute you can acknowledge what you have going on. So anyways, that's the look. Let's not discuss the hair. That's another video. I'm growing this out. Anyways, what is it that you want? Be specific. Be dedicated. Work. Have faith. Words are powerful. Writing things down. I write things on napkins all the time. You don't need to get a poster, but I will tell you this much, it certainly does help. And what I really like is just being inspired by everywhere I look at. Like any surface, I have positivity written everywhere. So this is gonna be amazing once I fill it out and put it right beside my bed. And I want you guys to be inspired. Follow your heart, follow your passion. What makes you happy? What makes you happy? So yeah, I hope you found this video helpful. If you want to get that poster, click the link below in the info box. And make sure you're subscribed. If you're not already subscribed, turn the notifications on, boo. Remember to do you, be you, and stay true, boo. Be shameless. Happy 2017.